So very short head-to-head race here, just the one lap. So tyre temperature, I mean, these guys both competitive. I guess we're doing this for a bit of an example, but both competitive. They'll want to win it, so they'll be getting all the tyre temper up they can.
James, Courtney, have you ever raced a superbike before?
Not from a car position or from a bike position. So no, it's sort of, as I left pit lane, it looked like a Scud missile following me. So I'm quietly crapping myself.
Nicely said, James. Okay, let's come over here to 3 times Superbike champion, Wayne Maxwell. Wayne, it's been since 2013 that you guys have been here with us, racing on a Supercars weekend. How pumped are you guys to be back?
Oh, it's fantastic. The atmosphere and the reception from all the drivers, all the teams, all the officials. It's really good, and it's the best motorsport category in Australia, and it's great to be here.
Absolutely. Do you think it'll be easy to make a clean sweep of James Courtney over there?
Oh, I don't know. He's pretty eager. He wouldn't like losing. I'm sure you know James as well as I do. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun, and yeah, it's exciting. I think we haven't really get to see these opportunities much. So yeah, we'll hopefully get the jump and be able to hold him off.
I'm so excited. Get on your bike there, and we'll start this race very soon.
Little drink of water, trying to keep up the fluids. He'll be back on track for qualifying in the race later today. And I love how they've brought everything out with him to try and keep some tyre temp on that bike.
Get on your bike, Wayne Maxwell. He's certainly going to have to get on his bike here, that's for sure. Wayne, very, very experienced. Both these guys in their retrospective categories, very, very experienced. I actually used to train with Wayne Maxwell way back when, in the late 2000s, 2009, 10 and 11. We had the same trainer, used to do a lot of training together. Very fit guy. You have to be so fit to ride these super bikes. And he goes all right on a push bike too, Wayne. Does a lot of push bike riding. Very, very fit guy. James Courtney, we know he does a lot of fitness, usually with his shirt off and on Instagram. So very different ways about heat. Very, very hot in the cabin of a supercar. We talk about that often, but just think about superbike riders with their leathers on in these hot, baking sun conditions.
So expect to see that Ducati potentially win the race down towards turn 1. Can Courtney reel him in over the rest of the lap? Both decorated drivers and riders in their careers, both former champions. The reigning Superbike champion up against James Courtney in the Boost Mobile Mustang. Look at the Ducati go!
That's traction control for you. Superbike, Ducati has traction control. We know a supercar doesn't, so Maxwell out of the blocks is gone.
Only thing that'll work against him here as well is you have to be really careful with that front tyre temperature.
We saw on the grid that the Superbike team had the tyre blanket straight back on the bike. Tyre temperature so critical on a bike, such a small contact patch of rubber. Think about the contact patch difference between these two vehicles. And look at JC now. He's got much more confidence in the front of the car. His second part of the lap, he's straight onto the tailpipe of Maxwell. Oh. Maxwell runs it wide.
Opens the door, Courtney goes through. It's going to be very hard for Maxwell to get back around him through this last sector, but if he's patient, he'll know that he's got the horsepower under him and the power-to-weight ratio to potentially catch the Mustang on the way to the checkered flag. Final sector, last few corners. Can the Ducati reel in the Mustang?
Look how hard Maxwell was pushing through that valley section coming out at the rear tyre. Lids up, sideways. The bike has traction control, but it enables a little bit of slip. Hard on the gas. Now, this is where the Superbike's got some real go. Look at it go.
Pulls out. They're going to be side by side at the finish line just. Thumbs up across towards James Courtney. That was really cool. The last Superbike race at Wakeford Park was 86 thousandths of a second. I think that was even closer.
That was really close. Really demonstrated the difference about how the two vehicles achieved their lap time. Supercar much, much faster on the entry to the corner, but once the Superbike is able to get the power to the ground and load that rear tyre, gee, does it fire off the corner.
Talking to the technicians back in the Superbike paddock last night, the numbers were somewhere around 300 to 305 kilometres per hour down this front straight. They are missiles.
That's when you compare that to a supercar, 265, 270 k an hour at the end of the straight. And think about the Superbike, it actually brakes earlier than the supercar at the end of the straight. We get a replay as the cars and the bike comes to the line. Oh, there you go. It was half a bike length, not half a car length, half a bike length in it as they cross the line. Seriously impressive stuff.
That was great. Wayne Maxwell showing us exactly how fast one of these Australian Superbikes can pull in a straight line.
Look at that, just dragging the rear tyre. You can see leaving a little bit of rubber on the way into turn 5 there.
How cool.
I think pride was on the line in that one, just a little bit between those two boys.
That was great. The 2+4 weekend delivering. And if you've ever wanted to know, well, now we do. And the funny thing is they would have actually wound up pretty similar to where they were yesterday with Maxwell being about a 10-second quicker.
Yeah, based on their practice times, very, very close. And I really like that. I said it earlier, just how it really shows how Superbike makes its lap time versus how a Supercar makes its lap time. And ultimately, at the end of the day, they both end up with a very, very similar lap time. So I'm sure this little debrief at the end of this there'll be lots of animation having a chat about this as JC jumps out and have a chat. Here's Charlie.
Wayne Maxwell, that was so exciting. I thought you ran wide there, you were going to lose it, and there's nothing like the Superbike horsepower at the end.
Yeah, well, you normally don't try to attack from the start, and then I went in there and I got on a little bit of marbles, and I was like, oh, I don't really want to crash, so yeah, I just overcooked it a bit, and then James came underneath, but the corner speed of the V8 Supercar is like amazing. I was like, being on the track, you see it from the outside, being on the track, yeah, it was really good and a great bit of fun and pretty close there at the end. Pretty
close, that's for sure. JC, how was that?
It was like having a missile coming at you down the straight. So, no, it was ridiculous to start, the power off the start line, but you can just really see the difference between the bike and the car. But no, it was awesome. It was a good experience.
Oh, absolutely. Now, you've got qualifying coming up in about an hour. How do you find the conditions here this weekend? It's very hot.
Yeah, it's just very hot coming from down south in Melbourne. Yeah, it's very, very warm, but yeah, we've done a fair bit of work with our bike and yeah, looking forward to the challenge.
You guys rocked it. Just gave me the best pumping start to the weekend. All the best.
Thanks so much.